Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming on time. Welcome to Business Empowerment Evening by GBN Marketplace Ministry. My name is Desmond, and I'll be your host for tonight. At every Business Empowerment Evening, we introduce to you Christian leaders in the marketplace who are both successful and God-fearing, so they can share their faith journey and we can glean wisdom from their experiences. Now, you may have come into this webinar via a friend's invitation, and we do not charge a registration fee for this. The GBN Marketplace Ministry is largely volunteer run, and we welcome free will offering. You may make a free will offering via PayNow using the QR code or the UEN number on the screen. You could take a screenshot here as well. For those who may be new to GBN, allow me to introduce GBN's vision and mission. GBN's vision is to see a transformed marketplace for Jesus. We want to help Christians, that is you, succeed and have an impact for Jesus. We do this through a threefold mission. Our mission is discipling Christian marketplace leaders through three core principles. First, we empower them to do business God's way. Second, we equip them to live a life of integrity and manage their businesses or perform their work with kingdom values. Third, we commission them to go out into the marketplace and communities to make a positive impact for Christ. Besides business empowerment evenings that you're currently tuned into right now, we also organize workshops and conferences. Here are some of the past speakers at our workshops and conferences, where we have Lucas Chow, Anthony Tan, Rachel Lim, Philip Ng, to name a few. You will be able to find recordings for some of these events at our website, gbn.sg, and also on our YouTube channel. Besides workshops and conferences, we also organize small group meetings called Business Empowerment Circles. The difference between a business empowerment circle and a typical cell group is our emphasis on marketplace issues. We have curated more than 10 years of marketplace topics, and due to COVID, most of these meetings have now moved online. More details are also available on our website, gbn.sg. To let us impact a person on individual level, we also conduct an intensive business mentoring program where we assign 2 mentors to 1 mentee. We have a panel of mentors who are experienced in their respective fields and mature in faith. And our mentees range from business leaders looking for godly counsels to professionals looking for career advice. Do check out our website, gbn.sg, for more details. And here are some of the ways to reach us. You can always go onto our website at www.gbn.sg or email connect@gbn.sg. We are also present on social media via Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And here are some house rules before we start. Do mute your mic at all times, and there will be a Q&A session later where you can use the Q&A feature to ask questions at any point of time during the session, where our speaker will answer at the Q&A session. We'll try to get as many of the questions answered as possible during the session after the speaker has finished her sharing. And for tonight, we are all very privileged to have with us Ms. Jocelyn Chng, Executive Director of Xinhua Tea, Chairman and CEO of JR Group. At age 21, Jocelyn lost her father. Still in school, she soldiered on to run Xinhua Tea and to help the family. And at age 37, she lost her husband, just 15 days after his lymphoma diagnosis. And all this happened less than a year after her grandmother, a spiritual pillar in her life, passed on. In the midst of contemplating to give up JR Group in the absence of her husband, Jocelyn, she received a dream to feed thousands through her businesses. Tonight, she will share her journey in life and business, testifying the Lord's faithfulness to walk her through the valleys of life and set a table before her enemies. So let us now warmly welcome Jocelyn.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, I hope that everyone has taken your dinner by now. Thank you, Desmond, for the kind introduction. My name is Jocelyn Chng, and as what Desmond have kindly introduced, I'm in the food business. So that's why I asked whether you have taken your dinner. Yeah, so just to do a bit of introduction, can I just share a screen with all of you? Yes.
Being last year's Singapore recipient of the Great Women of Our Time Award.
Jocelyn is our featured guest on Coffee with the Boss.
Jocelyn Chng is the driving force behind Sinhua Di Foodstuff. She was just 21 and still at university when she took on the responsibility of running the family soy sauce business following the death of her father. With tremendous passion and a clear vision, she transformed a traditional family-run local business into a modern, global company by focusing on smart technology and innovation. From food sources, she moved on to ready-to-eat meals and then created the very first hot food vending machine. Jocelyn is a trailblazer, and she's also our special guest on Coffee with the Boss.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, actually, I am a entrepreneur. I took over business by default, first from my parents who started a sauce business, and I have to continue a vision that God has given to me and to my late husband, that is in the ready-to-eat meals. So I'm also a mother to three grown-up boys, and definitely I was brought up by my grandmother, who is a Christian, and I was brought up by her in a Christian family. Yeah, but so tonight I would like to share with you, about my life, especially how I overcome different challenges, in a Christian way. How I overcome some of these business challenges and also all the obstacles that come onto my way through a God-led journey. So first and foremost, because I was brought up in a Christian family by my grandmother, she from young she has been always teaching me about faith. So as a young person, we do not know what is faith, because if we can't see how to believe that things will go well, So she will always tell me, before going to examination, do your prayers, and then you must have faith that you do your best and God will do the rest. So since when I was young, that is what she has taught me, and of course that faith has kept me through my life of difficulties, and also in the business journey. So there's a video here, but I won't on the voice, because it was a video done many years back by MediaCorp at that time, featuring some parts about my life and all. So when I was young, I was brought up by my grandmother, who is a Christian, but my father is a non-Christian, and he was diagnosed with cancer when I was just 14 years old. And because I came from a family of six children, my youngest brother was then only 4 years old. So at that time, being the eldest in the family, I have to take on all the chores, and even the businesses. So when my dad passed on, I was still in my second year university. At that time, I was in NUS. And I remember that my university lecturer actually told me, why don't you give up your, you just stop your school and then go back to do your family business and then come back and continue. But at that time, I was just telling myself, I say, look, I'm going to finish up my degree and then never come back to school again because I know I have to feed the family. So it was not really not easy. But throughout my life, I must say that, I keep looking up. So I keep telling myself, Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and also forever. So this is a plug that I always put in front of my computer to remind myself. Yeah, so this is how we make our sauces in the old factory. And I never give up because at that time when I was 21 years old, when my dad passed on, a lot of people say, why don't you just give up a sunset industry because sauces is not really promising in Singapore. But I tell myself because of my family, because of, the passion in the food business, I have to continue. And so we continue the business, and today we are actually exporting to more than 40 countries under the Keys brand. And Keys was created because of my dad, and that is actually his name. So as you can see that the family work together, all my siblings work together to bring about to bring up the business and as a family, and the family actually has grown closer in terms of the family bonding. So now all the siblings have already their own family, and we work together as a team in the company. And so at that time, actually, I gotten a lot of support, from not just from my immediate family, but when my late husband passed away, actually, I got a lot of support from my siblings as well as my in-laws. Well, on the right hand side, if you can see, this is my second son who sang a song for the father during the wake before the funeral. So maybe I can just play the video. So when my late husband passed away, actually the youngest boy, as you can see, is only 1 year old. I remember that time it was really after the SARS period where my grandma passed away 8 months before my late husband. So it was really very tough, especially I have to juggle with the business as well as the family. But I'm really very thankful that I have all my siblings with me and also my in-laws who has been helping me in raising the kids. Just before I go to the next slide, actually what I want to share also during my university day while running the business, I actually had two major accidents, car accident, because I was driving and I was too tired and I fell asleep. So one time I remember it was late in the middle of the night, the car actually overturned, and I got out safe, and I was able to get back to the car and then drive again. So these are things that it really happened, but I am very thankful that God is always there to protect me and protect the family, to see that um, we are well looked after, not just in terms of the business, but also the safety. I remember when I was young, my grandmother always tell me, you must pray, even whatever thing. So just to share with you, even very small thing, I think that is very big in the eyes of God. So, sometimes even while parking my car, I will ask God, I say, can you give me a parking lot? And very soon I will find a parking lot. So because of prayers, I can see many miracles after miracles after miracles. And just to share with you, COVID was just last year. In fact, it was just 1 year ago. And pre-COVID, actually, there are many many issues, many problems because people do not know what to do. And, for many businesses, they have to wind up because of of the COVID situation, especially F&B. And if you all can remember, I mean, the first lockdown was really, really hard on us because we do not know what to do because we have all the restaurants and cafeterias and physical shops and all that. But I pray to God and I ask Him, I say, what's coming? We do not know. But God, we just have faith. We know that you are there for us. So because of that, God has see us through and through. And even during such a big crisis, um, there are a lot of miracles. And it's also because of this COVID-19, I have seen that actually God's vision or God's dream that has given to me has come to pass. So these are some of the verses that I want to share with some of you, especially Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition. With thanksgiving, present your request to God because this is so important. Whatever things that I, as a business person, there are always things that I'm anxious about, just like this COVID-19, because I have so many family to feed, not just my own family. What about my team, my co-workers? It was very, very worrying because, it's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear that is coming just right in front. And especially when that time they announced the lockdown. In fact, just before the lockdown, my eldest son actually just got back from Shanghai because he was away for a year. And my second son actually was studying in the UK. And because of this, I was also juggling all the things because making plans for him to come back and making sure that things are okay while have to juggle with the business and all that. So in my business life, actually for the past 32 years, I have gone through SARS, gone through financial crisis. But every time, when I saw a crisis coming, I tell myself, do not be anxious, even though I'm still anxious. Uh, but with prayers, I always see God's hand in everything. And with prayers, I always see that miracles will happen without us even asking for it. And of course, I always remember that in whatever situation, we have to seek His kingdom first. Because whatever man know is just this much, but whatever God know is the whole picture. So imagine after my late husband passed on, actually it was very tough because I do not know whether I can bring up my three boys, especially when my youngest was only 1 year old then. Yeah, but I always remind myself that God will never leave us. So do not let our heart be troubled because God is always there for us and for my family. So about Thanksgiving, just because these few days I'm settling some new projects and some central kitchen mover to overseas and all that. And yesterday my son just shared with me the one that you saw, the one that sang just now, and he reminded me that in all circumstances we need to give thanks, because whether is it good or is it bad, we have to give thanks because we do not know the big picture. And when we see things that is not coming the right way, eventually God will make it the right way. So in every situation, we have to be very thankful and be very grateful. And because of that, we are able to see that even as I go through all the crisis in life and all that, we see that there is a purpose. There's always a purpose for me to work on. Whether is that purpose may not be apparent at the time of the happenings or the crisis, but it's always after the whole thing, then you realize that, oh, I think that is the will and that is the purpose for me. So for example, the about the COVID-19, about the ready to eat meals. So I'm going to share with you, even during SARS time, in fact, I was about to build a building for my sauces manufacturing. But, you know, because of the death of my late husband, I decided to stop and to just study the market and look at what God has in stock for me. So, and I found this building that I bought eventually after the SARS period. I got it at a very good deal. Of course, this is all God's plan also. So Sinwadi move into this building, and then we multiply our production, our throughput, and that is how we are able to export our sources out of Singapore and to many countries. So I just want to share that even with this COVID-19 last year, we are able to produce the meals for different people, including all the migrant workers. As some of you all know that at that time, the dormitory was there were a lot of lockdowns and all that, and the migrant workers cannot go out, and we need to provide the meals for them. So that was an opportunity for us, but initially when we were doing it, it was more of a CSR, because just before the lockdown and the dormitory lockdown, I received a call from a good friend, and he was like, oh, we have these dormitories, migrant workers, and we need some food. Can you help out? So I remember that time my second son just got back from UK, and then he was having fever, and I was still with him to see a doctor in the hospital. And then suddenly I received this call. I said, okay, we will try our best to fulfill the order and all that. Not thinking that actually that time is the migrant worker issue was really a big problem. So we were providing more as a CSR, but eventually we were supplying to more than 10,000 workers in the dormitory. And that was the time where I start to realize that when my late husband passed away, and he left a business behind that is doing ready to eat meals. At that time, at that point, I was contemplating whether should I continue or should I just give it up, because I've got too many things on my plate. I've got my family, my children, my sauce business, and so on, so forth. But because God has kept the business, and He has a purpose for it. And from this COVID-19, we realized that we were producing more than 50,000 meals a day. And that is besides to feed the migrant workers. We also actually help out in sending a lot of meals to to families who are, under quarantine. And I remember that one night, actually, one of my friend also called me and say, do you know, you saw the papers that, tonight the childcare has a COVID positive, some people who has got COVID 19 or something. And some of the teachers have to be quarantined and all the family have to stay at home. And he was saying that, can you send some meals to them by tomorrow morning for breakfast? And immediately we are able to provide the meals to them. So I think we can never imagine, like when we were doing a business, we never see this to happen. We never see COVID to come. But when COVID hit, we just suddenly realized that, hey, we are all ready to help out in this situation. But while helping out, actually is also giving us the sales, the revenue, and to keep all the jobs in the company. So I'm very thankful to God for that, because um, all our business, even though our restaurants are closed for 4 months and all that, but all our co-workers are able to keep their jobs and come back to the central kitchen to cook and to help out in order to feed the many thousands. And of course, at that time, our vending machine sales was also increasing, because it's contactless. I mean, at least people can go to the machine and buy. So in some of the hospitals in the residential area, uh, we are experiencing a surge. And also, of course, online business was really like going up to the rooftop, because people are just ordering into their homes and all that. But what it really touches us was, all the thank you cards, all the messages that came in to tell us, how thankful they are, especially when they receive such a warm food, hot food, and remind them of their family at home. And at that time, because we have all the different nationalities chef that is with us, that able to whip up all the different meals, like Indian meals, Bangladeshi meals, Chinese meals, and all that for them. So I think in situation like that, we are very thankful, because we do not know, and we didn't expect that we actually can deliver so many thousand meals. When I had a dream to feed the thousands, I thought that was the dream about 5 loaves and 2 fishes. But I never expect that the dream was really to feed so many thousands and 50,000 meals a day. So these are some of the cards, even from the families that we actually send the food to. Some of them has wrote very touching cards about, they lost their job during this pandemic, and then, suddenly they got a chef in box. And I remember one night I went to a shelter, because, at that time the border, the border of Singapore and Malaysia closed. So there was a lot of homeless, where some of the shelter has accommodate them. And when they asked Chef in Box to be in the shelter, I visited them. One of the volunteer there was telling me that, you know what, I was praying that we can get Chef in Box into the shelter, and God answered my prayer. But in my heart, I was really so thankful, because I'm able to we are able to serve the people who are staying in the shelter, who some of them work like late hours, and sometimes when they get the meals that are sent to them, is it turns cold, or is already turned sour and things like that. So with the chef in box meal, they are able to eat any time of the day when they get back to the shelter. And after that, they just send in cards to us, and some cards really touches me. And when I read it, I really, gone into tears. So I'm very thankful that during this pandemic, I've seen really God's hands, not just um, with us, but also with so many of the team and also the people out there, especially the volunteers who help to deliver those ready to eat meals onto the hands of the families as well as the migrant workers. So So if you see, this is my three grown-up son on the left. That is my youngest who is now in the army. And Noel is the one standing behind. And Joel in the center one is the number two who you saw just now. When he was young, he was singing. So during my 50th birthday, actually, he sang this. So I just decided to So, as you say, he not just my son, he's my friend, because when I'm in trouble now, sometimes I will run to him and ask him, what do you think of this? And then he will pray with me. And just now, when he know that I'm going to stay in the office for the webinar, he actually went to buy Shake Shack for me. He say for your dinner. So I'm very thankful that God have seen us through, and it's because of His words, God's words, that really keep me till today, especially in bringing up the family, especially in the business. So I just want to quickly run through a bit about the vision that I had when Richard just passed away. In fact, when he just passed away, like I mentioned just now, I dreamt about you know uh, me feeding thousands of people. And at that time, he started this business where we are in central kitchen. So we what we want to do is to bring about uh, good and healthy food as a solutions to the B2B. But main thing is also to B2C, because for my family there are like my dad, he passed away because of colon cancer. And at that time, actually the doctor told us, part of the reason is the diet. So at that time, we already wants to bring about good food to help people, to help families who are always at work, who are always busy with the day to day, to feed their children, to feed the next generation with healthy food. And we believe that food is a preventive health, is a health care. And so feeding the next generation becomes our vision in the company. And if you look at how God has really bring us through and direct the company, in fact, we are very attuned to the food security and the food sustainability, because it is really not easy nowadays because of all these differences in climate and all the non-biodegradable and things like that. So we make sure that whatever we produce in JR, we have to really look after the sustainability of the food and also the business. So I believe that business is not just about making money. It's about love. It's about caring of our future. It's about caring for our family. So JR itself has got three main pillars and main track. One is in manufacturing, that is in all the institution catering, food solutions and all that. The next is in F&B business, where we have some of the restaurants and cafeteria where we run for the bank and for the corporates and all that. And of course, the more latest are the vending solutions where we have all the hot food vending machines. And we started an automated cafe in 2017. So JR stands for Jesus Wins, because this business is my father's business. It's not my business. So when we first started the ready-to-eat meals, that was in 2001. At that time, a lot of people feel that, hey, why are you starting ready-to-eat meals where you can get a hawker food just down the hawker center, or in the heartland and all that. So a lot of people are quite skeptical. There's a lot of naysayers, and they think that the concepts will not work. But look at today. I mean, with all the busy people working and all that, and sometimes, especially like for my family, I've got three boys, and when if my helper doesn't know how to cook, the easiest is to bring back chef in box, because that are all prepared by my chef, and I'm very sure that the quality is good, the food safety is there, and then it's really healthy for me to feed my own children. So eating healthy and also ready to eat meals has become a culture, and also has become like a part of the new way of living, because um, if most of you here knows that a lot of us nowadays also depend on grab food, or even home delivery, because we are just too busy. And especially so if some people are working from home. So I know my son who works from home, he works from morning until night and really got no time to go out and have lunch. And the easiest is really to have ready meals. The easiest is to have the convenience at the fingertip. Yeah. So at that time, actually, it was so much like a disruptive business where we changed the way people eat. And I remember my son told me, he say, oh, sometimes I don't want to go to the hawker center because, it's very hot, and also, the food is not consistent and things like that. And he rather get me to buy back the chef in box so that he can, eat it on the go and things like that whenever he feel like eating. So why ready meals are preferred? These are some of uh, the, 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 the important points, because it is also more convenient and actually healthier. I'm not trying to sell any food here, but it's just the vision that was given by God. And this was really what we put in during the COVID time. And this has also helped many children who were stranded during the COVID. They still have to go back to school, but when they went back to school, the school canteen are all closed. And then they my friend just ordered all the chef in box to be sent to all the schools for the children, otherwise they will go hungry also. So one of the vending machine automated cafe that we set up in 2017 has also helped many families, especially during this COVID time where they work from home and all that, and sometimes they just want to get a meals like in the middle of the night, whether is it a hor fun or spaghetti or maybe a chicken chop or whatever. So they can go to the automated cafe and they can get a hot meals any time of the day. So it is really convenient. So just this morning, I received a message from a friend in Korea. So she was saying that, actually in Korea, they are also looking at such concept. And in fact, they are looking at this for the US market as well, because, and also because of the pandemic, people are looking at different ways of delivering food. And sometimes, I mean, yes, there are food deliveries, but, going to a van cafe is always much easier and much faster. So we gain a lot of attention, especially with the government, and at the same time with the media and all that. So we got a lot of traction. And of course, we are very thankful that, because of this, we are able to serve the community much better. So when I was doing this van cafe, a lot of people tell us, don't be crazy, don't waste time and don't waste money, because you will never make it, because everywhere you can get food anytime, especially in Singapore, and food price is cheap, and it's not difficult to get. But I still go ahead to do, because in every major business decision, I always pray before I go ahead with making that decision. And when I pray about it, and when God opened doors, I know that that is the business that I have to work on it. Although it is really very hard, because, especially when people don't believe in the concept, or when people are just telling you, no, 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 and then you don't get all the support, because the banks are not going to work on a contactless payment device or whatever. But as we go along, we can also see God's hands, and God opening many, many doors for us as well. So trust in Him, that's the most important, because as we trust in our real God, we know that in whatever situation that we are in, whether is it a storm, or is it a crisis, or is it a pandemic, like what my son shared with me, he said in every situation there is really a bigger purpose. And when everything that comes, whether is it negative or positive, he say just say so be it. So trusting in Him is very important. And all I want to share with you is, all things work together for good to those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. And I also want to share with you that, for I I'm very thankful that God has given me very supportive and good family, and also good team, especially when my late husband was not well. My brother, who is a banker, just tender his resignation as a banker and came over to join me. And till today, we are still working together as a team. So I would like to share this verse: unless the God built the house, those who build it labor in vain. So that is the background, if you can see, Psalm 127, verse 1. So with that, I want to say thank you so much. And before I end, just another verse to go. John chapter 20, verse 29. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. So having faith is really so important as a leader, as a business leader, and as a head of the family. Thank you very much. And please, whatever questions you have, Desmond.
Hi, thank you, Jocelyn, for this very uplifting sharing, reminding us of having the spirit of thanksgiving. And even though we don't understand the situation, because probably we don't see the big picture, and uh, thank you for sharing all these
Yeah,
beautiful
just
stories.
yeah, Desmond, just some uh, some QR code here. If let's say if some of them would tune in, there's two QR code here. One is my contact. One is Grace, who is together with me now. If you need to reach out to us, or you want to ask any questions, and you can just take a picture of the QR code, and then you can go to the contact. And just
Wow.
before I
Thank
forget,
you so much.
there's a testimony I think I have to share with the listeners also.
Yes, yes, please do.
In March, actually, I had a very bad fall, and I fractured my leg. A lot of people tell me, when you fracture your leg, you probably take a few months to recover and things like that. But I tell you, God is so amazing. And I tell you, less than 1 month, I'm able to run around, and I'm perfectly healed now. And I tell God, I say, I don't want to stay at home, because when I was in cast, I was really staying at home for that 1 week. And I feel that I just cannot sit still. But I think that was a time where I really, God has made me sit still at home and reflect on the things that I'm doing, but at the same time, give me a lot of rest. So I thank God for that.